Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I hope all of you are doing good. Please let me know in the chat box if the audio part is clear and screen is visible to all of you. I have background music playing, so if it's too loud, please make sure to let me know. Hello, Rohan. Audio clear, perfect. So, first of all, I would like to thank all of you. We just reached the 500 subscribers mark. It was only like 3 weeks ago when I started off this channel. We used to have live streams over YouTube, but I thought we should have regular live streams. We used to have live streams over Discord, but I thought that maybe we should just be having live streams over YouTube, and I should be posting more educational content over YouTube. And that was the purpose for creating this YouTube channel. And just in 3 weeks, we have crossed the 500 subscribers mark. So yeah, I would like to thank all of you for showing your love, for showing your support. It's a great thing for me. Once again, if you're watching the live stream, if you're joining me for the first time and you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please make sure to do that. And please do not forget to like the live stream. And if you're not following me over Twitter, once again, you can go to my Twitter account. I regularly share my updates, sometimes signals as well, sometimes educational content over my Twitter account. So please make sure to follow me over Twitter. And once again, make sure to join the Discord server as well. All of these links, they're right below in the description of this live stream. So yeah, like the live stream, subscribe to the YouTube channel, join the Discord server. That's where all of the updates, they are shared with the members. That's where all of the content that's shared with the members, right? So let's start the live stream. So as the name suggests, this live stream, it's going to be about the potential price target, about the potential future price target for Bitcoin and Ethereum. Most of you would agree over this thing that we are already in this bull market. A lot many people over Twitter space, they're saying that we could go up to 200k. Some are saying that we could go up to maybe $500,000 price mark as well. People are predicting $10,000 for Ethereum. I'm definitely not going to make any unrealistic prediction. All these people saying that BTC could go up to 600k, 700k, $1 million mark, they're just saying this in air. They do not have any solid data to back this up. And if you would ask me personally, first of all, I'm a big fan of Fibonacci levels, be it Fibonacci retracement level, be it Fibonacci extension levels. And from my personal experience, from my 7 years of experience, I can say this thing that, Fibonacci levels, they provide you a very good medium to predict price action in ranges where there is historically no data available. So, in this live stream as well, this is going to be a very important one. Hello, Sherlock Saad from Germany. Welcome, Saad. Welcome to all of you. So, in this live stream, we would be using Fibonacci retracement levels, some Fibonacci fractals, in order to make future predictions about where exactly the price for BTC and Ethereum it could go up to. So yeah, this is going to be a very interesting live stream. If you are watching me just to hear my thoughts about the current PA on BTC, we would be doing that as well. But you can simply just go and watch the last live stream as well. In that, I just completely discussed in detail about what exactly could be happening with BTC in a short term and in long term, in terms of market structure, in terms of dynamic support and resistance areas. We would be talking a little bit about that in today's live stream also, but the main topic of discussion, it's going to be the future price prediction. It's going to be what exactly could be the potential targets for BTC and for Ethereum in this bull run. Okay, so as you can see, I have a blank chart open right in front of me. It's the 4-hour time frame chart, so I would just quickly move on to the daily time frame chart, because you guys need to understand this thing, that the higher time frame you would go, the more accurate these fractals would become, and the rest of the confluences would become. You talk about support and resistance, you talk about support and resistance, you talk about chart patterns, you talk about any of the dynamic lines, you talk about the trend lines, etc. The higher time frame you would go, the more accurate these things would become, right? So same is the case with these Fibonacci fractals as well. We would be drawing these Fibonacci fractals in the higher time frame, which is a daily time frame chart in this case. Now this is something very unique. I have not seen, to be very honest, someone else predicting the price action like this. They may have slightly different ways of doing it. Somebody telling you that BTC could go up to 500, somebody could be telling you that BTC could go up to 150k, 120k. They may have completely different approach towards predicting this, but for me, this is the way that I usually use. That's how I basically do it. So it's quite simple. All you have to do is just go to the higher time frame, which is going to be daily in this case. Just find one complete working fractal using Fibonacci retracement level. It could be Fibonacci retracement, it could be Fibonacci extension, whatever tool you are comfortable using. So the first step, it's going to be moving to the higher time frame, trying to find one complete working fractal. And by one complete working fractal, what do exactly mean? So that fractal, it should be working at least, it should have worked at least 2 times in the past, and only then you can use that fractal. What exactly is the criteria for a fractal to have worked? What price levels you would be looking at. So what is a fractal? So fractal is basically a mathematical term. It's something that is repetitive in nature. Okay, it's basically not a term that originates from actual English, but it is basically a mathematical term. It's not used in day-to-day language, but it's once again a mathematical term which simply refers to something that's repetitive in nature, right? So if I quickly show you how the Fibonacci retracement levels look like on my chart, these are the levels that I'm always focusing on, and these are the levels that would define if a fractal is working or not. So in order to say that it's a working fractal, it needs to show the reaction at 65. It needs to at least show the reaction at 65%, 70.5%, or 78.6% level, or to some extent 61.8% level as well. So once again, in order for a fractal to work, please do not get confused if you're not understanding any of this. I would be explaining all of this in detail. First of all, I would just explain, and I would just go through all the steps, and then I would move on to drawing some fractals for you guys. So once again, in order for a fractal to have worked in the past, it needs to have showed the reaction starting from 61.8% Fibonacci retracement level and going all the way up to at least 78.6% Fib level. Okay, so a few other levels that I'm always looking at are 127% level, and sometimes 314% level as well. The rest of the levels, they should just really be understood. What exactly are those? If we are looking at 61.8, 65 or 70.5% level, then obviously it should be understood that 161.8, 261.8, 361.8, or 170.5, 270.5, 370.5, all these levels also we would be looking at. But anything below the 50% level, I'm not really paying attention to. Not really saying that those levels, they are not important, but the way that I use Fibonacci retracement levels, I'm not paying attention to levels like 38.2 or 23.6%. I'm usually starting from 61.8% and going all the way up to 78.6% Fib level. Okay, so if you would like to take a screenshot, or if you would like to know what exactly are the levels that I'm always looking at, these are the settings that I have in my Fibonacci retracement tool. These are the levels that I'm usually using. You can pause the video whenever you would be watching the recording. You can pause it and you can take a screenshot, and you can have the similar settings in your Fibonacci retracement tool as well. Okay, so the next thing we would do is that we need to find one working fractal once again that at least has worked two times in the past. And we will simply just be extending that fractal ahead in time, in future, and we would see, and we would try to predict where exactly the next reaction could happen. So we will be starting first of all, with this fractal, this fractal right here. Once again, in order to draw Fibonacci retracement levels, or Fibonacci, in order to use Fibonacci retracement tool, always remember this thing: you cannot simply just open up any blank chart and try to draw these Fibonacci retracement level. They need to be drawn properly in an impulsive wave. Okay, so there needs to be a proper impulsive wave. You need to draw it from the start of the impulsive wave to the end of the impulsive wave. The mistake that many people do is that they would simply just open up any blank chart and they would look at the price action and they would say that, okay, let's draw Fibonacci retracement tool like this. But they never ever bother to draw, or they never ever bother to draw the market structure. They never ever bother to identify the impulsive and the corrective waves. So once again, just a general disclaimer for you guys: Fibonacci retracement level, it's precisely a tool that is meant to predict or that is meant to forecast the length of the retracement wave in comparison to the impulsive wave, which means that you would only draw it from the start of the impulsive wave to the end of the impulsive wave. From the start of the impulsive wave to the end of the impulsive wave. And once again, in order to do that, you need to be correctly able to identify the impulsive and the corrective waves. We would not go into the details of that. I would simply just assume that you guys already know how that works. But if you don't, just let me know in the chat box. Maybe we can have another lecture, another live stream over just identifying corrective and the impulsive waves. So I can see that a small retracement wave, a small price was simply just moving in an uptrend, and a small retracement happened somewhere around here. So let's try to draw Fibonacci retracement levels in this, using this fractal, and this would get really interesting. Okay, this is probably the least working fractal in my opinion, and I would be showing you some very interesting fractals. So yeah, please make sure to bear with me for the rest of the live stream, because this is going to be really interesting. I would in fact be showing you a working fractal that precisely predicted the previous all-time high, the previous cycle's all-time high at 69,000, and that same fractal precisely predicted the bottom for the previous cycle as well at around $15,000. That was a very interesting one. Okay, so once again, please make sure to stick with me till the end of the live stream. So let's first of all look at this fractal right here. What I would do is that I would simply just try to find a swing low. I would simply just try to find a major swing low, draw it from the start of the impulsive wave, end of the impulsive wave. My job is to fit this tool or fit this fractal in such a way that the price reaction at 70.5, 65% or 78.6% Fibonacci levels is apparently visible. So I can see that the reaction happened somewhere around here, which means that this fractal at least has worked one time in the past. So what I would do is that I would simply just reverse. I would go into the settings and I would reverse these lines. As soon as I would reverse it, the next reaction, it should have happened based on this fractal, based on whatever happened around here. The next reaction, it should have happened at 127% level. And I can see that as soon as price went to 127% level. Now this is the beauty of the Fibonacci levels also. I have spent past 7 years working with Fibonacci levels, Fibonacci extension level, Fibonacci retracement level, and using different strategies based upon these levels. And I know that how beautifully these levels actually work. The problem with the rest of the things, for example, trend lines, chart patterns, for example, support resistance levels, are that they are not precise levels. They are simply just ranges. They are simply just areas, which means that somebody would come and say that a support exists somewhere around here, but somebody would say that no, it needs to be adjusted slightly, something like this. So, there could be slight disagreement. But, the beauty of Fibonacci levels is that if you are correctly able to identify the start and the end of the impulsive wave, that's where the debate gets a little bit complicated, because we still do not have any 2 + 2 = 4 way of identifying the start and the end of the impulsive wave. If at some point in time we are able to do that, then all of the things, in my opinion, in my personal opinion, the price action, or predicting price action, it would become a lot more easier for all of us. So anyways, what we would do is that we have simply just extended these lines ahead in time, and we would try to see where exactly the next reaction should have happened. In this case, the next reaction, it should have happened at 127% level. It did happen, although it was a very small reaction. But then the next reaction, it should have happened at this area, starting from 57,000 up to like around 60,000. That did not happen. Now this is an interesting case. I'm not saying that the reaction, it should be happening every single time or every single level, but if it's not happening, you can simply just move on to some other fractal, because there are so many fractals. There would always be so many fractals present all around you on the chart. You can simply just move on to the next fractal and try to find the best possible one. Just like I mentioned at the very beginning, I will be showing you the best possible one. This is probably not the best one. This is probably the least working one, but at least it worked one time around here. It worked the second time around here when the price reaction happened at 127% fib level. It should have reacted, or it should have worked somewhere around here as well, which means that when price was going up to 57,000 to 60,000 level, a significant reaction should have happened. That did not happen. It's okay. Let's move ahead in time and see where exactly the next reaction should have happened. The next reaction should have happened at 72,000 to 74,000, and this is exactly what happened. The next reaction, it started from 72,000 to 74,000, and price simply just started dropping. Okay, once again, I don't really know that how many of you are looking at the beauty of this, but just by looking at the price action that happened back on 18th of January, you could have simply predicted the new all-time tops or new all-time highs. Okay, that's the beauty of Fibonacci fractal. That's the beauty of Fibonacci levels. So the first reaction should have happened here, did happen. The next one should have happened here, did not happen. The third one around here, which means that there are at least three instances. The first one was this one, the second one was this one, and the third one was this one, in which price reacted as per the correct levels. Okay, which means that there have been three instances in which this fractal worked, and so we can definitely look up to the next levels and expect price to react there. Another beautiful thing about these fractals is that whenever you would see a price reaction happening at higher level, where can you exactly expect the price to drop down to, or where exactly can you see the next reaction happening? For example, in this case, the reaction happened around here, around 261.8 to 71% fib level. So naturally speaking, I would expect the next reaction happening at this area, or I would expect the bounce happening at these levels. Okay, whenever I'm teaching my students about Fibonacci retracement level, it's actually a complete module in my mentorship. So I usually take almost 10 to 15 lectures teaching about Fibonacci retracement level or Fibonacci levels in general, because there's so many things to teach about it. For example, in this case, you can see that price went on to the next levels, got strong rejection, then dropped down, and once again came back down to these levels and had a bounce happening. Once again went back up, rejection happened, once again dropped down to these levels, and a bounce happened. So you can see that the reaction is happening precisely in between these two ranges. So using this fractal that formed somewhere around here, where exactly can we expect the next reaction to happen? Using this, we can say that it's highly likely that the next reaction, it may be happening at first of all 80,000 level, and then the next true reaction, it should be happening somewhere around 85,000, because that's where the 361% level is gonna be. From 85,000 up to like around 89,000 range. Okay, and one reaction, it should be happening somewhere around at 80,000 level. Okay, using this fractal, these are the predictions made using this fractal that formed back in the first week of January. Okay, so let's try to look at a few other fractals, and this would really get interesting, I'm telling you, because there are a few instances in which some of these fractals work, I would say, magically, right? So let's try to find any other instances. For example, I can see somewhere around here But in this case, I don't see that. I think that the price reaction did not happen at 61.8% level, or maybe at 70.5% level. How I can say this thing? Because once again, if you would draw it, if I would simply just reverse both of these all of these lines, you can see that price only retraced down to 50% level. You see, the way that I was able to tell you this is simply because I have spent enough time looking at these waves the past 7 years, that just by looking at the waves, I can tell that if the retracement happened down to, it's simply just pictured all in my mind, right? It's simply just programmed in my mind. I would simply just look at the blank price action and I would try to see where exactly the next reaction would start happening. Anyway, so let's try to find another working fractal. Let's see if we are able to make any other prediction. There is one around here as well, but in this case, the retracement was down to even 90% level, which is not really a very good thing, because if you would draw Fibonacci retracement level, you can see that the retracement happened down to almost 99.9% level, which means that this impulsive wave and this retracement wave, they were almost very similar in length. Okay, now I don't want you guys to get confused on this thing, but since we are talking about Fibonacci retracement level, 99.99% people that you would ask about drawing these levels, how they would do is that they would simply just draw it from the left side of their chart to the right side of their chart, which means that they would draw it along the x-axis, along the positive x-axis. For those of you, the horizontal axis, it is referred to as the positive x-axis, which means that from past into the future, this is the past and this is your future, right? That's where the whole price action is happening. But when it comes to me, once again, I have worked with these levels to such an extent that I would at certain occasions draw Fibonacci retracement levels from future or from present back into the past as well. Now this may sound once again a little bit confusing, that how would you draw the levels, or how would you draw something from present into the past, and even if you are able to do so, how exactly that would be making the predictions? Because if you are going from present into the past, then you would be making the predictions back in past. For example, if I do it like this, then I'm making the predictions back in past. But the way that I do it, the way that I would be doing this is that I would draw it from the right side of my chart to the left side of my chart, meaning along the negative x-axis, meaning from present back into the past, and I would try to see if this fractal has worked the very same way in the past, and if it did work in the past, it could simply just be extended back into the present or back into the future as well. Okay, this gets a lot more interesting when you talk about more and more in depth about Fibonacci levels. But yeah, this is also a way that you can do this. If you would go out and ask 99.9% of traders, 99.9% of people, they would say that this is not the correct way of drawing Fibonacci retracement levels. But these levels, they were not invented a century ago. It was almost 8 centuries ago, and the guy who invented these levels, the guy who invented the Fibonacci series, he did not give you a way that you can do it this way or that way. So it's completely open to interpretation. I'm always telling my students that Fibonacci levels, it's such a diverse topic, it's completely open to interpretation, so it's completely up to you. You can go and experiment with it, and if someday you're able to come up with something new, and that would really be interesting. Okay, let's go ahead and try to use some other fractals and try to see that how exactly they could have predicted the next price action. Let's try to use this one around here, although I still think that price in this case, price in this case hardly retraced down to 61.8% level, but still, since this is a working one, this fits or this meets our conditions, and also this is formed right at the bottom. Let's try to extend it a little bit and try to see where exactly the next price reaction should have happened. So this is a fractal, by the way, we are looking at this one right here. So as per this, the next reaction should have happened at 127% level, around 27,688. That was not a perfect reaction, but at least you saw price stalling somewhere around 27,688, which we would say that okay, this is almost acceptable. We would say that okay, let's try to suppose that okay, this is a working fractal. The next reaction should have happened pico at 30,000 232,000, and that's exactly what happened. The reaction happened at 30,000, then happened at around 31,500. The first reaction, it was at 161% level, and the next reaction, it was at 170.5% level. And you can actually see the beauty of it. Okay, the price reaction happens around here, then price drops down to once again the previous fractals, the same thing that I showed you with the previous fractal also. The price reaction happened at the levels above or the levels below, and then the price drops down to the levels that were giving a reaction in the past. So reaction happens around here, then price drops, and where exactly the drop stops, it drops down to the previous levels, levels down at 88.6 or 99.90. And whenever the price drops are happening, remember that you can consider all of these levels. You can almost consider all of this region to give the price a nice decent reaction. But anyways, as per this, a small reaction happened at 127% level. The next bigger reaction happened at 161.8, 170.5. So there are at least 3 instances in which this fractal, and remember that, before I move forward, before I go ahead, remember that it's not like the Fibonacci retracement level, they would be working 100% of the times. There is no single confluence that would be working 100% of the times. It's gonna be completely up to you that which fractal you are using, that which levels that you are using, and it's gonna be completely up to you that which other confluences you are taking into account. The more of them you would take into account without adding to the complexity of the whole setup, the more confluences you would take into account, the more confirmations you would have, but at the same time, try to make sure that you are not making it too complex. Anyways, so the next reaction, it should have happened at 261.8% level. That unfortunately did not happen. We can see that. That's why I explained at the very beginning also that it's not like it would happen always. In some cases, if you are able to find a universal fractal, in some cases, if you are able to find a secret fractal that's predicting every single level, that's absolutely going to be your luck, right? But it's not like it would be working 100% of the times, but that's our job. Our job is to find a fractal, that's working at least 70, 80, 90% of the times. In this instance, the first time it worked, the second time it worked around 127%, the third time it worked, the fourth time it did not work, but once again, the fourth time it worked at 314%, which is very interesting. Once again, this is the fourth instance, 314, you can see that the price rejection happens. Once again, price drops down to where exactly? The previous fractal, and once again gives a strong bounce, and then the next reaction happens, Pico at 361%. That's where 361% is gonna be. So now this is the fifth instance in which the price reaction happened. If we count one by one, this was the first one, this was the second one, this was the first one, this was the second one, this was the third one, then this is the fourth one, then this is the fifth one, then the next reaction should have happened at 470. That did not happen, and then price just went straight back up. Okay, now unfortunately, if you would go into the settings of Fibonacci retracement level, you can only add a specified number of levels. There are no other entries which you can put. So since the distance from each level, like the distance from 170 to 270 is going to be the same as the distance from 270 to 370. So let's try to use the percentage tool, and let's try to see that where exactly the next reaction happened. So it's 170 to 270. I think a drop in the price is happening in the market. Yeah, that's why I'm getting so many alerts. So let's try to extend it 270 to 370, the same distance it is. Once again, the 370 to 470, the same distance. So where exactly the 570 level is going to be? This is your 570 level, 570 or 586 level, and we can see that a perfect reaction happened at 570 level, 570 or 588% level. So that's where the 570 level is going to be, and next 670 level is going to be somewhere around here, which means that this reaction or this fractal is telling us that reaction may happen starting from 76,000 going all the way up to 80,000, because that's where the last line 88.6 gonna be. 5 or 6 88.6 is going to be. So once again we are coming up with the very same levels of 80,000. That's where starting from 80,000 up to 89,000. This is a range that we have identified so far using two different fractals. Now let's not waste time and quickly move on to some other ones. Now, this is going to be very interesting because I'm going to show you this fractal right here. If I remove this line. Okay, so, back in November 2021, the previous cycle's top happened right at $69,000 region. But the interesting part is that, and soon after the price started making these lower lows and lower highs, price started moving in a downtrend. But once again, the interesting part happened somewhere around here. What exactly is that? Price was continuously making these lower lows and lower highs. And once again, just like I mentioned, you can only draw Fibonacci retracement level in a trend, right? In an impulsive wave. It's not like I would simply just take out my Fib tool and draw it just anywhere on the chart. But this is a very interesting case. Once again, this is a downtrend going on. This is your impulsive wave. This is your corrective wave. This is your impulsive wave, corrective, impulsive, corrective, which means that I am perfectly allowed by all rules to draw Fibonacci retracement levels from this swing high to this swing low, or from the start of the impulsive wave to the end of the impulsive wave. But if I just turn back all of these levels to normal, what's the most interesting part? The most interesting part, please try to understand this carefully. The most interesting part is that, okay, it's understood that this is the start of the impulsive wave, this is the end of the impulsive wave. Price went up to 70.5% Fib level. That's where the reaction happened. So this is the first instance in which the price reaction happened. But the interesting part is that if you would go back in time, okay, and by the way, I have not reversed these levels. These levels are perfectly like how they should be. But if you would go back in time, you would notice that as per this fractal, okay, that's why I'm talking about the Fibonacci fractals working in the past as well. If you would look at this fractals that got formed from 25th of December 2021 to 29th of March 2022, it perfectly predicted where exactly the previous all-time high should be, or it perfectly predicted where the previous top should have been. Okay, this as per this fractal. Okay, so just try to understand this. Just try to understand this complete story, the complete background. So something that happened ahead in time was perfectly able to, something that happened in March 2022 was perfectly able to explain what exactly happened back in November, December 2021. Okay, so something that's happening in present or something that's happening in future is perfectly able to explain what exactly happened back in past. Okay, so that's why I'm a big believer of the fact that if market is moving in terms of a bigger fractal, that fractal is definitely going to be based upon Fibonacci levels, because this really is a magical series. So in this case, we can see that this fractal right here, it formed in this downtrend when price created the new all-time high in November 2021. In this case, the price rejection happened around 70.5, 78.6, which means that this is a working fractal. But if you would go once again back in time, you would notice that this fractal was the one that predicted that the previous reaction should have happened around starting from 65,000 ending at 69,000, and that's exactly where the previous all-time high for this cycle was. But the things get a lot more interesting, okay, because if we reverse these levels, now this fractal right here, and by the way, the Fibonacci series, it's not something that's related to financial market. Okay, it was only introduced in financial markets almost 200 years ago. It was basically related to mathematics and physics, right? And I have, by the way, graduated in physics. My research was in forecasting using financial time series models. The interesting part about the laws of physics, the interesting part about the equations of physics, I don't know how many of you are physics enthusiasts or not, but I find it kind of really interesting. This was exactly a small part of my research also. The beauty about the equations of physics, the beauty about the laws of physics is that they do not differentiate between past and future. They do not differentiate between the directions of time. The way that us humans function, the way that us humans behave is that we have perceived an arrow of time. We think that time is simply just moving from past into present and then into future. That's how the arrow of time it's being perceived. But the beauty about laws of physics, or the beauty of nature, is that there is not even a single law in physics, there is not even a single rule in physics, a single equation in physics which differentiates between the directions of time, which means that the equations of physics, they work the very same way from past into the future as they would from future back into the past. So for equations of physics, for laws of physics, there is no direction of time. Time could simply just be moving in one direction, or it could simply just be moving back in time. So laws of physics, once again, they do not differentiate between past and between future. This is a very interesting thing. This is somewhat very overwhelming of a fact as well. So Fibonacci sequence, or Fibonacci levels, or Fibonacci numbers, they are also a mathematical thing. They're also a thing which is related to physics and mathematics. So I believe that the Fibonacci sequence or the Fibonacci levels, in the very same manner, they do not differentiate between past, present and future. They should be working the very same way ahead in time as they would back in time. So they do not have a certain direction of time. So coming back to this discussion around here, this fractal, it worked at one instance somewhere around here. Then it worked the very same way back in time around 69,000. Then as per this fractal, the next reaction should have happened at 27%. This is what exactly happened. The next bounce happened from 127% Fibonacci level, or 27,000 level. Another interesting fact. So one instance, second instance, third instance. In all three instances, this fractal worked. Then as per this fractal, the next reaction should have happened at somewhere around 19,000 down to 16,000 level. Now this is very interesting thing. Please hear me out. This fractal, which perfectly predicted the previous cycle's top, it is telling you that the next cycle bottom, the cycle bottom, it should be somewhere around $16,000 to $19,000. You must be asking yourself the question that how is it telling us that this should be the bottom? Cannot price go down lower to maybe the levels that we are looking at 170 or 178.6? Cannot we look down on 261 or 270 or 370 or 361? They can also be the bottom, right? But the beauty of this is that this fractal, which worked at one instance, at the second instance, at the third instance, at the fourth instance, it was basically telling us that either 16,000 to 15,000 is the bottom, or price is simply just not going to survive. But this project, this whole Bitcoin project, is not going to survive. Why? Because if you would look at the next level, the price levels are in negative 170, negative 100, negative 1170 and negative 3082. And we know this thing that it is not possible for a for the price of an asset to go to negative, which means that either it was 16,000 to 15,000 to be the bottom, or either was price simply just going down to zero. Obviously zero was not possible in this case, and that's how we saw the price going down back up. Okay, this is the beauty of this fractal, and this fractal, in my opinion, was one of the most beautiful one, because all instances it worked very beautifully, predicted the future, very beautifully predicted the past. So it worked back and forth, predicting the 69,000 top cycle top, predicting the 16,000, 15,000 cycle bottom. At the very same time, the major reaction happened 27% when price went up to 33,000 level. Very similarly predicted the price reaction happening somewhere around here. Now if we keep on using this fractal, okay, let's try to once again turn off the reverse option, and let's try to see that this is one of the most beautiful fractal. But the only drawback is that this fractal happened back in time. This fractal happened in the previous cycle. But if we just say that, okay, this is the universal fractal, this is a fractal that would be identifying the new cycle tops and new cycle bottoms, then in that case, this was a reaction. The previous reaction happened at 69,000, starting from 65,000, and as per this fractal, the next reaction should be happening starting from 83,000 going up to 88,000. So this is once again the very same range that we are coming up with. And I've been saying this, I can show you, since the time is limited and I have to take a few questions also, I would appreciate if the questions are specifically related to this. But once again, I could show you, a few other fractals also, but none of them are going to be, as beautiful as this one is. I can show you a few other fractals also, and they are simply just predicting the very same range. I'm not an investor. I'm simply just a trader. I play level by level. So in my opinion, the next reaction for BTC, or the next big rejection for BTC, is gonna happen from $80,000 to $85,000 range. That, and in the worst case scenario, that's going to be the cycle top. And in the best possible scenario, it's going to be around $120,000. Okay, that's where the cycle top is going to be. In the worst case scenario, starting from 80,000 to 85,000, or even if that is not the cycle top, you would see a very major correction, possibly starting from 85,000 happening all the way down to 50,000, 55,000. You see, a lot many people think that things were different during the previous cycle. During the previous cycle, we created a top, or we created an all-time high in April 2021 around 64,000. Please try to understand this timeline. April 2021, we created the all-time high at 65,000. Then price went all the way down to 28,000. Can you imagine this? Price created the all-time high at 64,000, 65,000 in April 2021. Then just in 2 months, like in May and June, just in 2 months, and less than in fact less than 2 months, price went all the way down to 28,000. And then once again came back up and went up to 69,000. So even if 85,000 or 80,000, they don't really happen to be the cycle top, it's very much likely that you would see a major $40,000, $50,000 price rejection happening, or price correction happening from 80,000 to $85,000 range. So be very careful. Try to exit most of your positions. Try to exit your major long-term investments around around $80,000 to $85,000 range. And before we move forward with the questions, there are around like 40 to 50 people watching this live stream, but only like 24 of them have liked this live stream. Please make sure to like the live stream. Please make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. We have already gone past 500 subscribers. I would really appreciate if you guys would simply just like the live stream and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And do not forget to join the Discord server, because such educational content, it's being regularly shared in the Discord server. So yeah, just click the link in the description. It's going to be somewhere in the description. Just go there and simply just join the Discord server. I'm sharing the link in the chat as well, and you guys can simply just ask any questions that you may have. I hope the session was good enough. What price do you reckon I should buy BTC now, or will it go down? Okay, so if you're asking about buying, the invalidation level as of now, it's at around 63,300 level. Okay, this is very interesting. Price at this movement on the BTC chart is at 63,700. The global landscape, it's changing very quickly. We have an ongoing tension in the Middle East, Iran versus Israel. Conflict is happening as of now, so things could simply just be changing at any moment. Somehow they just seem to fight every time price is at 70,000. I don't exactly know what's wrong with them, but anytime we are close to the all-time high, they just simply start with their own drama. But anyways, we are in an uptrend on the 4-hour time frame chart. The uptrend, it's going to get invalidated. Please hear me out carefully. The uptrend, it's going to get invalidated as soon as price breaks and closes below 63,300 level. So a 4-hour candle close below 63,300 is going to completely invalidate this uptrend. This is first thing. The second thing is that you asked me about buying. If you buy at the current price levels, although I would not recommend doing this once again because of the global tensions and all those things, but if you would buy at the current price, your invalidation is going to be extremely close. For example, the current price is at 63,634. You know that if price breaks and closes below 63,400, the whole trade it's going to get invalidated. So once again, the invalidation, it is extremely close, so you can buy at the current market price. I don't know if there is some, if any news dropped in, but price seems to be impulsively just going down. You guys can let me know if something happened. I'm not looking at the news. 1 hour BTC has formed a double bottom, simple man theory. And usually whenever it comes to equal highs and equal lows, I'm never really looking at 1 hour time frame chart or any lower than the 4 hour time frame chart. So I'm always starting from 4 hour going all the way up to daily time frame chart. But even if it is formed in the 1 hour time frame chart, it should be a slightly concerning thing. I don't know, what highs you're referring to. Could you be please a little bit more specific? Thank you very much for all this knowledge sharing with all of us. That I would like to ask you, based on this Fib fractal information, how do you think we can still go? I just explained, all the possible scenarios in terms of Fibonacci retracement levels. But if you are asking about the potential bottom, then maybe we can try to use this one. Okay, so once again, it's going to be a bit controversial because I would not draw Fibonacci retracement level from present into the future, or like ahead in time or towards positive x-axis. I would be drawing these levels from present to back in past. Okay, and we can see that the reaction happened around here, which means that it's a working fractal. If we try to extend it ahead in time, we can see that the next reaction should have happened at 65% level. That perfectly happened. The reaction at 127% level, the price bounce happened. The next reaction should have happened at 64,000, 63,888, which did happen, although it was a very small reaction. Okay, and now the next reaction should be happening at 60,700, 60,400, and this is my level of interest also. This is the level that I've been talking about during the previous live streams also, that if price drop happens, price should eventually drop down to 60,500 or 60,700 level, because that's where the major daily support area is, for which the first retest is pending. And I've been saying this for quite some time that price could eventually drop down to these levels. So yeah, make sure that if you have not watched the previous live stream, just go and watch that live stream. As per this fractal information also, we are seeing that the next reaction, if the drop below happens, if price is not able to sustain around here, there are still 40 minutes for this 4 hour candle to close. Anything could be happening. I don't know what exactly is the news, but you guys can check on Twitter if something bad just happened. But if the price drop happens around here, the next reaction, most probably it's going to happen at 60,700, 60,500 levels. Okay. Is USDT.D forming equal highs? It's going to be hard to say because the 4 hour candle has not closed, and similarly on the USDT dominance chart, there are still 40 minutes for the candle to close. So yeah, there are no equal highs in sight. So yeah, definitely not something. There were two equal, there was an equal high created around here, by the way. Interesting thing. There were equal highs created around here. So either price bounce happens from here. Once again, guys, I do not have Twitter open in front of me. Let's check on Twitter if something is happening. Because why the sudden drop like this? All of my Twitter feed is literally just filled with this guy. He legit looks like an assassin. So, let me remove this alert. So, these highs around there, Israel-Iran war. Yeah, he's looking like an assassin. I don't know if there is any news about the war or something like that, but definitely it's, the drop is happening because of the news. Not sure what news it is, but I have to see. There is no such news. Okay. How no more is gonna dip. I just explained that, that's where the dip could happen down to. And in such situations, it's not recommended to just keep on buying, because I buy the dip and it just keeps dipping, because you may find yourself in a similar situation. I buy the dip and it just keeps dipping. Should I hold a limit of 65k? Our entry is somewhere around 64,000 region. Still 4-hour candle to close. Our BCH and Jasmine is on. Yeah, we have a couple of long positions open. Let's see. I really hope something bad does not happen, because we have a few long positions open on Jasmine, on BCH, on Boom, and yeah, that's it. And by the way, Sol is really a good position if the price sustains around here. We had a Sol spot open from $138. This support area on Sol, it was not retested previously, so Sol has been strong in comparison to the rest of the market. So yeah, if a decent reaction happens around here, this is a good spot to buy Sol. But looking on the daily time frame chart, yeah, even if you would consider the daily time frame chart, that in my opinion is a good spot to buy. Yeah, given that BTC just tries to stay around here and doesn't just break below. If it goes under that 63.4k, should we sell all the long? No. With the rest of the long positions, you would still just continue to play all of them. With BTC, obviously, we would try to cut that long position if price closes below 63,300 level. But still, there are 40 minutes for the 4-hour candle to close. Still too early to say what exactly could be happening. I just said this at the very beginning as well. If something bad is happening fundamentally, if there is some news about war or any such thing, I'm not really sure. Okay guys, do we have any other questions? Why is the Fibonacci accurate in the price prediction to the market makers? This is in fact a very important question. There are many times people are always asking that why exactly the Fibonacci levels they are working. There are two answers to this question. The first one is a little bit philosophical, and the second one is more logical. The philosophical answer is that the Fibonacci sequence, it was introduced almost 800 years ago, and people started noticing that the Fibonacci sequence or the Fibonacci numbers, they are present all around us in the nature. You start from Milky Way galaxy, which is possibly the biggest thing that you can imagine. You go all the way down to look at the petals of the sunflower. The Fibonacci sequence or the Fibonacci numbers, they are present all around us. You look at the seashells, you look at the Milky Way galaxy, you look at the smaller things, the bigger things. The Fibonacci sequence or the Fibonacci numbers, they're present all around us. So almost 200 years ago, the people came up with the conclusion. People came up with this theory that if the Fibonacci sequence is present all around us in the nature, in financial markets there should be no exception. The Fibonacci sequence or the Fibonacci numbers, they should be existing in these financial markets also. And that's how the concept of using Fibonacci numbers in the financial markets basically originated. So the philosophical answer is that just like any other thing present all around us in the nature, the Fibonacci number or sequence, it works the very same way in these financial markets also. Once again, this is a philosophical answer. The more logical answer is that since there are so many market participants involved, and almost every single person of them knows about Fibonacci sequence and Fibonacci numbers and Fibonacci retracement levels. Okay, just take the example of the TradingView terminal. You go to the TradingView terminal, you go to the tools tab, and you can see that you have a complete tool set for Fibonacci. You have Fibonacci retracement, you have trend-based Fibonacci extension, you have Fib channel, you have Fib time zone, you have Fib speed resistance fan, you have trend-based Fibonacci time, Fib circles, Fib spiral, Fib speed resistance arcs, and so many other things, right? So People, they are absolutely aware about the existence of Fibonacci sequence and Fibonacci numbers. They're always using all these sequence and all these numbers, just like you would do that, as soon as the stream would end, just like I would be doing it. So, it's such a widely used tool, such widely used levels. So that's why we obviously see a decent reaction happening at these levels, because so many market participants, they would be looking at these levels, they would be looking to bid these levels, and that's why decent reaction happens. Another aspect of this is that, unlike the support and resistance levels, unlike the trend lines, unlike the chart patterns, Fibonacci retracement levels or Fibonacci levels, they provide you a more definitive medium, you know, in terms of levels, in terms of specific price levels. For example, if you would, there are so many indicators on TradingView that would help you draw support and resistance levels. Okay, although none of them are correct, I always say this thing that you should be doing it manually, obviously. But if you would use any of these indicators to draw support and resistance levels, you would notice that each one of them is literally just doing it differently. Even if you would ask 10 different people to draw the next support and resistance level, they would simply just be doing it slightly differently. So the point here is that, whenever it comes to support, resistance, trend lines, and chart patterns, they simply just provide you ranges, right? There is room for, discrepancy. But, with Fibonacci levels, a lot many algorithms, a lot many bots, they are designed to buy and sell at Fibonacci levels. Okay, at specific Fibonacci levels. As soon as they would spot these levels, they would be buying and selling at these levels. So once again, the point is that, in comparison to the rest of the tools, in comparison to the rest of the confluences, Fibonacci levels, they provide you a somewhat specific levels. For example, all you have to do is just try to find the start and the end of the impulsive wave. If you are correctly able to do so, all of us would agree that that's where 65% level is, that's where 70.5% level is. There is not going to be any disagreement, there is not going to be any discrepancy. That's why all of us would be bidding at the very same level. And if obviously the more number of buyers are present around at 65% level, you would see a decent reaction happening. So once again, there is a logical answer and there is a philosophical answer. It's completely up to you. Which answer would you like to believe? What about ETH? Did I miss it? No, we have an open position on ETH also. I guess the first two positions, the first two entries, they got filled. The second one, it did not get the fill. But yeah, we have an open position on ETH and we have an open position on BTC also. Although things are not looking that good. I hope there is no bad news about the global politics and all that. But yeah, let's see what happens. They are connected to the computer programs. Yeah, that once again is a more logical explanation. Can you have a look at the XRP chart? I literally just hate looking at XRP, to be very honest. That coin is literally dead and moves out of nowhere. Although you can bid this level, this 4-hour support, but it's still very risky. First, because there is such a big hype going on about SEC versus XRP lawsuit. I don't know what exactly was the decision for it, if the decision is about to come or something like that. But yeah, I would still advise trying to stay away from a coin that is such volatile. And at the same time, you can see that you have a trend line formation also, which means that the break is happening, and the break, it's going to be an impulsive break. So I would just stay away from XRP for quite some time. 63,400. It has broken past that level, but the 4-hour candle has not closed. Just wait for my update. Alright guys, I guess that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining in once again. For those of you who are watching me for the first time, please make sure to subscribe the YouTube channel. Please make sure to turn on the notification bell, and do not forget to like the live stream. Thank you so much for joining in. Take care and have a great week ahead. I would see you guys back on Saturday now. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Supercharge your business to the owners.